Hey guys, it's Dami24, and in this video I'd like to show you a review of the VK3002M. This tank was introduced in patch 8.8, so it's a relatively new tank as of the time of this video, which 8.9 just came out. It's a tier 6 German medium tank. It's right before the Panther, Panther 2, E50, E50M on that line. Let me show you the tech tree real quick so you get an idea. VK3001H comes first, and you can choose between the German medium line, which is the 3002 as I just said, or the German heavy line with the 3601, Tiger, Tiger 2. Now because this is a precursor to the Panther and so on and so forth, it suffers from the same problems as the Panther, Panther 2. That problem being a weak lower plate. Now these engines have a 20% chance of fire, which coincidentally is also going to mean you're going to want to put a fire extinguisher in here. But with that weak lower plate and a 20% chance of fire, a lot of enemies are going to shoot right through that lower plate or even in the top, as I'm going to get to the armor in a minute, through either one of those plates, and they're going to have a decent shot, again 25% or 1 in 5 chance, of setting your engine on fire. And chances are it's going to go on fire, man. That's all I can really say about it, is plan for your engine to be on fire at least once every 3 or 4 games. And if you've played a Panther or a Panther 2, you know exactly what I mean. You feel my pain. Now, this is a tier 6 tank. In my opinion, the Panther would be better placed as a tier 6 tank, and the Panther 2 would be better placed as a tier 7. Likewise, Tiger should be a tier 6 to me, and a Tiger 2 should be a tier 7, historically speaking. But the developers obviously didn't choose that way because of game balancing issues. So it is what it is. Now, the options that you get with this thing, I'll go through them step by step, are the guns, engines, the turret, and the suspension. Radio I don't really want to cover because everybody puts whatever radio they really want into it. Now as far as the guns go, there's 2 different guns, both of them are 75s. The big difference between the guns are rate of fire. The bigger gun's a little bit slower, 16.67 compared to 14. The pen's better on the bigger one, 150 compared to 110. The bigger one's got better, well, it's not really bigger as in size wise, so I should say the tier 6 versus the level 6 versus the level 5. And the damage is a little bit better, 135 damage compared to 110. Accuracy is a little bit better at 0.35 compared to 0.39. Aiming time's the same, and again, weight is a little bit heavier, which is to be expected. Now there's 2 different turrets you can put on this bad boy as well. Both of them are specific to the VK3001M, or 3002, sorry. Biggest difference being an extra 20 armor on the upgraded turret and extra 10 view range as well. You got a little extra weight as well because of obviously extra armor. Suspension, not really anything to really discuss here. You get extra 2 degrees of traverse, extra 4 tons of load limit, same weight. Let me show you something real quick here. So this is a 3002M. This is tier 6. Here's a tier 8 Panther 2. Now looking at the 2, you don't really notice a whole heck of a lot of difference, right? Tier 8's got a little bit different silhouette to it. Looks like it's a little bit, well, maybe it's not shorter. It's got side skirts. That's about it. A little different turret. Now this is why I left the engine until last. The engines you get, there's 3 different engines in here, between 580, 650, and 700 horsepower engines. See, 580, 650, 700. But the level 8 engine that you get in this thing at tier 6 is the exact same engine that you get in the Panther 2 fully upgraded at tier 8. Which does not make a lot of sense to me. You'd think upgrading the tanks through 2 tiers, you'd get a better engine. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is also the same engine that you get on the E50. No, you get a better engine on that. Okay. So, I'm wrong about that. But the tier 8 engines, or the level 8 engines, is the exact same between the Panther 2 and the VK. So that's a nice thing about it, is you'll have that upgraded, but at the same time, At a tier 6 level, this thing cruises around on the battlefield. It feels really good. It feels like you're whipping around. You've got a 41-ton tank. However, at tier 8, you got a 53-ton tank. The Panther 2 feels kind of lumbering and slow, heavy. You can feel when you're driving it that it's a slower tank, but it feels really good at the tier 6. Now the other stats as far as this goes, you got 840 hit points, you got 60 hull armor, so don't think you're going to be bouncing too many shots. It's true that that front plate is angled, but still, nonetheless, don't be thinking that you're going to bounce a whole heck of a lot of shots. You're going to have to really focus on angling if you're going to try to take any hits at all. Hold on 1 second, please, so I can get a drink of water. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. As I was saying, you're really not going to bounce any shots with this thing, so don't hold your breath on that. To finish off the discussion about the stats, though, the basic stats, you got 30-degree turret traverse speed, and if you want to get that a little bit faster, turn the tank while turning the turret, and you get the gun around more quickly. The view range is 370 with the upgraded turret. We talked about that already. Signal range is 415 with the tier 6 radio, but you can get the tier 9 radio, which will bump you up to 710. It's personal preference if you want to put that in or not. I choose not to spend the 42,000 credits on it, but if you want to keep this tank and you plan on playing it over the course of months or whatever, if you just don't care about credits, go ahead. You're going to want to eventually put that in, but maybe not right off the bat. From here, I want to talk to you about the modules to put in this thing. I want to talk about how to play the tank. I want to talk about what kind of crew skills you should put on your crew members, and finally, the strengths, weaknesses, and my overall impressions of this thing. Before we get into some games, that is. As far as the modules go, what kind of modules you put in it will be determined by how you're going to play it. So first we should talk about how you're going to play this tank. Now, when we play World of Tanks, there's basically two types of games we get into. One is when we are the top tier, so tier 6 in this case. And the second type is when we are the low man in the totem pole or bottom tier tanks, and that's when you get into, say, a tier 8 game. You're going to find a lot of times you're going to be in against higher tiered opponents. Well, at least in NA East. I don't know if you're in a different server, it might be a little different for you, but in an NA East server, 3 out of 4 games I'm probably in a tier 8 game with this thing. It's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about that. When you're in these types of games, you can try to play as a spotter if you really want to do that. If you want to try to play as a scout tank, you can give it a shot. It is a fast tank. It can fly around pretty good. But the problem is your silhouette. For reference, let's see here. Here's the VK3002M. This is a tier 6 scout. You can see it's not nearly as long. It's not nearly as tall. It's got a lot better silhouette for scouting than this thing does. You see it's a little bit longer and it's a little bit taller. So you can try it, but it might not work, and don't be surprised if it doesn't work. Otherwise, the basic way you want to play this thing in the higher tier games is you want to be a kind of like a flying around, relocating medium. You don't want to try to do too much with it. You don't want to try to brawl with it. You basically want to get at a distance on flanks. And when I say at a distance, I'm talking about 400 to 500 meters, somewhere around there. You want to really stretch out that view range so you get as far away from the enemy as possible. Now, with this gun, you only got 150 pins, so you're not going to be pinning even tier 7s and some tier 6s from the front. For example, the Tiger P has 200 millimeters front armor, and that's just a tier 7. You go get some tier 8s, like the 4502, it's got 120 front armor, or hull armor, and 185 turret armor, and it's sloped. You're going to have a hard time pinning these things. And there's obviously better tanks than the 4502. So you want to keep at a distance. You want to use that gun to its maximum capability. It is a fast gun. It's an accurate gun. So stay way out there and try to get as many shots on target as possible. Other than that, you can kind of poke around the battlefield, see if you find an opening. Wait until people get into locations or their defensive positions or whatever, and then try to find an opening and maybe exploit that. But otherwise, you really do not want to be taking any shots. Maybe take a few shots and try to get the enemy to look at you or divert their attention. But you really don't want to be the center of attention at all in this thing. Now, when you're the high tier tank, you're basically gonna, in other words, in tier 6 games, you're basically going to play it the same way, but you can be a little bit more aggressive. Again, you want to still stay out at distance, 200 to 300 meters. You really see the thing is you really want to hide this lower plate. On all German tanks, the lower plate sucks, but on this thing, with 60 millimeter front armor, you're gonna get panned. And like I said before, this engine's gonna catch on fire, and all it takes is one shot, and you're done for the game. And it's very easily, even in the tier 6 games. So stay at a distance about 200 to 300 meters. You can kind of get some front end shots on some tanks, but don't be surprised if you bounce as well. And again, you want to use the gun to your advantage. It's a fast gun, it's an accurate gun. It pops these guys at 130 damage per turn or per hit, so it's going to take a little while to knock them out. But they're not going to focus on you. They're going to be focusing on bigger, badder targets, and that's kind of to your advantage in that you won't be taking as many shots, and you'll be able to do some more damage before they even start to pay attention to you. So because that's the way we're going to play it, the modules we really put in here are going to be improved vents, which is standard on all tanks, binoculars, binocs, and camouflage net. Binocs is going to increase your view range 25% for a stationary vehicle, and that kicks in after about 5 seconds, and the same thing with the camo net, increases your decreases your detection chance, and that's about 5 seconds. I don't recommend coated optics. If you were in a Russian tank and you were a little bit faster, a little bit better gun, you could do a toss-up between coated optics and the binocs. But because you really don't want to take a shot in this thing, you really want to stay hidden and as far away from as possible, and that binoculars and the camouflage net's going to help you do that. As far as the crew skills go, it's pretty much up to you. Radio operators, you should almost always put situational awareness on it because it's going to increase your view range. Longer view range, the better, especially with a tank like this that you're going to want to stay away from everybody stay away and keep some distance between you and the enemy. And a commander, I really think Sixth Sense is the way to go with a commander as well. As far as the other guys, do whatever you want with them. For example, my loader's got repairs, driver's got smooth ride, and the gunner's got snapshot. But Sixth Sense, I think, is key. I think that's probably one of the best perks in the game, period, especially for the commander. But yeah, other than that, choose whatever you want. And from here, overall impressions of the tank, strengths and weaknesses. The strengths are obviously its gun. It's got a very good reload. It's got a lot of good accuracy. You got to use that to your advantage to keep the distance, keep pumping those shots out. The speed is really good for a tier 6 tank. You will fly around quite a bit. The weaknesses, while the gun has a lot of good things for it, the pen is a big weakness. You're not going to have a good time against tier 7s and tier 8s. Again, even something like a Tiger P has got 200 front armor. So good luck against something like that, especially when you get to other tier 8s or whatever. And you're even going to find some problems with tier 6s as well, bouncing off of them. And the armor. Obviously, the armor is a huge problem with this thing. You'll bounce some shots. You will, from tier 4 tanks. You don't expect to. If you get lucky and bounce something, count your blessings. That's pretty much the way that goes. And the lower plate. With this engine that catches on fire, it's incredible how easy this thing catches on fire. Those are the weaknesses and strengths. Overall impressions, though, it's a fun tank. It's fast. You can have some good fun with it flying around and taking a couple shots here and there and trying to duck in and get a few shots off and get out real quick and kind of like hit and run if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. But otherwise, I'm thinking this isn't anything to keep. As soon as you get the Panther and you unlock the stuff for it, ditch it. It might be nice to have it to be like, oh, I got the whole German tank line or whatever. Or if you're like me and you don't have premium, it's good because you can play with this thing at the tier 6 levels, get more credits, build credits up to be able to afford to even play tier 8s, tier 9s. But other than that, if you got premium, for sure, get your XP, get the unlocks out of it, and just get rid of it. It's not really worth it. But yeah, from here, let's get into some games. Alrighty, here we are. First game's a tier 8 game, Assault on Siegfried Line. Wanted to show you how a typical tier 8 game goes. Attacking team at the very north edge. See, I might need to bump up the map just a little bit here for you. Okay, very north edge. I like to come up here quite a bit. And again, tier 8 game for you. So get up at the top. Starting to peek up around the top of the hill. And you'll see right. One of the good things about this tank, right away, blows up real fast. Perfect, right? I told you, you're going to see very often, you're going to see games just like this. And man, it's over again and again and again. And it gets really, really frustrating. Did I screw up here? Yeah, I shouldn't have got over the edge or whatever. But that's typically how your tier 8 games are going to go. But I wanted to show you that one. Let's get into another one. Okay, guys, we got a tier 7 game, Standard Battle on Highway. It's not a hugely tier 7 game. They only have 3 tier 7s for them and 3 tier 7s for us, but still technically is a tier 7 game. I wanted to show you this one because it kind of shows you what you do against some of the harder opponents, some of the higher tier opponents without being overwhelming. A lot of my tier 7 and 8 games are just garbage. They're what I showed you earlier, where I'm dead in a very short amount of time, or I basically just sit back and scout the entire time. And while it showcases what you can do with the tank, it's not exactly fun viewing. I mean, you guys already know what scouting looks like, right? So the other thing about this tank is it's a very good scout killer. And you're going to see I'm kind of looking for protect the flank, protect my team's approach into the factory area over there. And as I'm watching it, lo and behold, a little Lucius just shows up. And you can see where I'm shooting on that guy. Shooting right at that lower plate. There you go. Engine fire and he's out. I don't know why I'm not doing anything for a second. Let me change these around. I don't know why it does this. Whoops, wrong one. Back to game. So you can see I'm just basically sitting here kind of covering the flank, letting everybody get into the factory area over there. Not really looking to do too much brawling. I'm not going into the factory area myself. If it was a tier 6 game, I might use my speed to hurry up, get in there, maybe take a few shots and try to secure this corner area down there to keep these guys off the corner. But not a tier 7 game. Now you see there that tier 6 Churchill 1, I'm going to have a hard time even penning that guy. I will get into a fight with him a little bit later, and you can see that this 135 pen gun, or 150 pen gun just doesn't even cut it against some tier 6s. So now that we kind of are in the city a little bit more, we got some of the bigger tanks in there, I will come in now and use some of the bigger tanks as protection for myself, especially since we're starting to knock out some of their heavy tanks. And you can see my very bad driving. Not a very good driver, apparently. See, here's what I'm talking about by distracting the enemy. That Churchill gets a shot on me. Tier 5 Churchill. And you can see here, even the 150 pen gun on this Churchill, not going through, bouncing. And again, Churchills do have very good armor, but, I mean, come on. Expect a little bit more out of that. And there I am. I back up, use the T150 for cover, let him take the shot, then I move up. And that's just the way it is. That's what heavy tanks are supposed to do. They're supposed to take the shots. The other thing to keep in mind about this tank is you can use it to disable the enemy, like I did by taking out that guy's track. And here you can see I'm shooting at that lower plate where he's got a little weaker, and a possibility of taking out his engine, set the engine on fire. Again, he gets one shot, I got 3 on him for his one shot into me. That's what I'm saying, I'd rather take a Panther over Tiger any day. I distract him long enough, and eventually I end up getting a kill there. You have to aim with this thing. You can't just... You know, when you're in a Yag Tiger and you shoot at something, you basically, for the most part, really don't have to aim. You can just shoot, and you're gonna hit. But with this thing, you gotta aim. See, I can't do nothing, and that armor is just so weak. It just absorbs everything. And that's just a tier 6 tank. You saw me bouncing off tier 5 Churchills, I'm bouncing off tier 6 Churchills too. So now we have the factory. We basically, and I didn't see that little whatever was right there. We have the factory. We're pushing in on the city. I've got 2 kills that Luke's at the very beginning, and the Tiger. You can see some of the speed here. 30 going up the hill. And this thing can fly around. You'll see as I start to turn downhill, there's 40, 50. She's got some speed to her. Topping around about 60 kilometers per hour. So she moves, especially downhill. And then here's the ending shot right here on the last VK. Now the reason why I show you that is, again, you get to see me go against some higher tier tanks. You get to see even some of the tier 5s I'm bouncing off of, but you don't see me get overwhelmed. A lot of the tier 8 games, this tank just gets manhandled. It's not even fun. So let me see if I got any other gameplay for you. Okay, so here we are, tier 8 game, Live Oak standard battle. When I'm in a smaller tank like this and I can't really do any brawling, I like to come along the inside of the, I guess, swamp area right here, like I am, and try to expose weaknesses in their flank. Now, if you've seen previous videos, you've seen me talk about altering your tank according to where you are on the map. Well, this T-25 is in a bad spot, and that's why. He wasn't really expecting anybody to watch it to come from his flank, and that's exactly where I decided to come from. Now I gotta get close to him so he can't do any tricky stuff on me. Although he did a really good maneuver there, because I got stuck on the building. But then he screws up here somehow. And then I go for that track shot, take the track off, get away from the gun, and that's all she wrote. And that's what you gotta do when you're in this tank in a tier 8 game. You gotta try to find an isolated enemy, attack from the flank, and you're gonna see right here, IS-6 sitting there tracked. You're gonna see right here how weak this gun is. Right on the side, bounced. So I know I'm not gonna do anything, right? So all I wanna do is just wanna keep that guy tracked. Let one of my bigger, badder buddies come over there. It's a nice alliteration, huh? One of my bigger, badder buddies come over there and try to kill him. So I just want to keep him tracked, keep him preoccupied with me, so that someone else can knock him out. And there he's gone. Get ready to see what else is going on. Find him, take a shot, but not much to mention with this guy. Again, targets of opportunity, it's all you can do. I got lucky finding that T-25 out in the open, or stranded like he was without any protection on the flank, and I made him pay for it. So let's speed it up here, do a little garbage talking. Slow it down. So I'm exposing their base to see what's back there, trying to find their arty. Find a nice T-69 out in the loose. I should have aimed that shot. It's gonna end up costing me. Should have aimed that one too. That's 2 missed shots. Two missed shots, a bounce, or a track shot, which didn't do anything. And I took 2 rounds right there. Bounce again on a T-69, and I meet my maker. But that's the way the tier 8 games are going to go too. You gotta, again, find a target of opportunity that, find an enemy that made a mistake and try to make them pay for it. That's pretty much all you can do in a tier 8 games, and try to spot. Even you saw me shooting at that IS-6 on the side, bounced on the side of an IS-6. This gun is not going to do. It's not going to be great for you. There's no other way to put it than that. So, yeah, let's get into a tier 6 game, and with that, that'll be the last battle I'm going to show you guys. Okay, here we are. We have a tier 6 game, standard battle on port. I'm on the flank, trying to find whatever I can. Find any opportunity I can to shoot some bad guys. See, the VK is now paying attention. my gun aim, get a shot into him. And he's gone. Find some other guys over here. I don't know how that worked out, but you know, what the heck. Take what you can get. Get a shot on that leopard there. Nothing there. I just missed him. Just missed that SU. I think I just missed a shot right there too, if you see. Go flying across your screen there. I see the SU and I thought he was going to come up in front, but he was behind some crates. Should have been watching my radar or my mini map better. But anyway, I see this KV-1S, I see our KV-1S on the side there, and I decided to try to use a little maneuver on this guy, maybe get some shots in on him, or at least distract him from my buddy to go around the side. You can see he's already going around the back. So I get down nice and low as I can, get a spot on him. You can see he's looking at me, so I gotta aim at that cupola. And somehow I get lucky there and I bounce that. These guys, you can see he's worried about the other KV-1S. That's why he's moving around. You can see he's moving the turret. Now he's trying to keep me off that cupola. Luckily the gun's accurate enough that I get shots on that thing. About 350, I suppose. He gets a shot into me. Somehow I miss. Keep firing. Miss a shot there too. That's 2 misses, or 2 or 3 misses. There's another one into the cupola, and then this other guy comes around. Finishes him off right before I get to fire. So you could see there how I was distracting him. Leopard on the loose, and nothing. Right into the tracks. And then again, I find target of opportunity. This SU is not paying too much attention or whatever he's doing, and I've got to make him pay for it. With this tank, you basically, like I said, you got to get into the flanks and hope that they don't see you. Hope they're not shooting at you. That KV-1S took 1 shot. It took me down to half health. Now, granted, KV-1Ss do have a derp gun on them, but you know, still, you can't take shots in these things. You got to get onto the flank. You can distract them, but like I did there. But you got to hope you don't get shot. Find the target of opportunity, shoot them in the flank, and that's basically all you can do. Again, you know, you're not going to have outstanding games in this tank. You're not going to have 10 kills, 15 kills, or not that you ever would, but you're not going to have those kind of games where you just carry the team with this tank. It's just, you just can't do it. And it's going to have an interesting little going on in about 3, 2, 1. Nice little crash and burn there. But that's the VK3002 in a nutshell. I hope you guys have enjoyed this guide. I hope you find it helpful. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. I really appreciate the likes, the comments, the favorites. It means a lot to me. I know you guys are bombarded by World of Tanks videos and gameplay by a whole bunch of dudes that put out tremendous and great videos. So I really do appreciate all the time you guys have spent watching these things. I appreciate all the comments and all the support. In game, I've got you guys sending me messages. I got you guys putting nice comments up for me and stuff. You know, I really appreciate it. And I'd also appreciate it if you guys could, if you found this video helpful at all or anything, if you want more of these kind of videos, please like the video. I would appreciate that. I'd also appreciate it if you put a comment down there, things you thought I did good in it, things you thought I could have done better. Your thoughts on the VK, and you know, whatever else, you know. Love hearing from you guys. So thanks again, and take care. Bye.